If your booster club is charging different amounts based on fundraising, if you're tracking money per student, if you're billing families for not participating, you, my friend, are sitting on a compliance time bomb. And the worst part, most of y'all think this is normal. Hey, this is Soundstage EDU. This is one of those episodes I wish I didn't have to record. I had a lot to do. I had a lot of things that needed to be taken care of, but the amount of risk I just saw in a single thread, that made me stop, because we need to talk about it right now. Because what I'm seeing isn't just bad practice. It's audit triggering, nonprofit threatening, lawsuit inviting behavior. And it's happening everywhere. Let me summarize what I just read in a thread on my monitor. I saw comments in a thread that were, this is what I was saying. If you don't fundraise, you pay more. We invoice families if they don't participate. Money goes into individual students' accounts. You can opt out of fundraising and just pay. People who work get their fees reduced. Every single one of those statements carries risk. Some of them flat out non-compliant if you're a 501c3. And here's the dangerous part. These ideas are being shared confidently. They're being reinforced socially and normalized as just how bands work. And that's how entire systems drift into violation. This right here is the root issue. You're trying to make fundraising feel fair on an individual level. And I get that. But nonprofit law doesn't care about your version of fairness. It cares about this and this only. Who benefits from the money? If the answer is the student who raised it, or the family who worked, or the kid whose parents sold more, you're entering private benefit and inurement territory. And that is not a gray area. That's a structural violation risk. You hear me talk about these things all the time here because it's a very real problem. So let's call out some of the most dangerous practices that I'm seeing in this thread. First and foremost, individual student accounts. Money goes directly to the student. No. Hard stop. This is one of the most cited risk areas in booster organizations. Because now, fundraising equals personal financial benefit, not charitable purpose. I see this all the time. I see so many people defending it because the other school did it, or this is the way it's always been done. And you know what? The IRS knows that. And the IRS is watching. And there are audit triggers that will trigger an audit that will uncover this. Another dangerous practice I'm seeing is you pay more if you don't fundraise. Simply put, and this was the quote, if you don't participate, you owe more. That sounds fair, right? But it's not. Because now fundraising creates financial advantage. You've just created a two-tier system. And that's a problem. Another dangerous practice, mandatory fundraising or penalties. You sign the contract. Doesn't matter. Nonprofit compliance doesn't care about your contract language. You cannot require fundraising participation, and you certainly cannot punish people financially for not doing it. The next dangerous practice I'm seeing, opt-out fees. This is super common. I see this all the time, and it's said so confidently. Raise $100 or you pay $100 instead. Because this one fools people. It feels compliant. It really does. But structurally, You've tied financial obligation to fundraising behavior. And that's where the risk starts creeping in. I need you to understand that you are not running a system of fairness if you're employing any of these methodologies. You are, in fact, running a system of privilege based on who has time, networks, and energy. You're running a system of access, who can sell and who can't. And also, this system plugs into capacity, who has help and who doesn't. And then saying, well, the ones who work should benefit. That mindset, that's exactly what creates compliance violations, because nonprofit structures are designed to remove individual benefit, not reward it. Now, let's layer in what the thread also showed. It showed me a large collection of disabled parents, single parents working multiple jobs, families without networks, because maybe they just moved, kids in unstable home situations. And the response from some people? Well, then they should pay more. No. Absolutely not. That's not just risky. That's how you create inequity. That's how you punish students for adult circumstances. And then now you've opened the door to discrimination claims. Here's the deal. I was going to spell it out here because it seemed like no one else here wants to say it. Well, some of you did, but I'm going to say it loud. You cannot force participation. You cannot equalize effort. And listen, no matter how hard you try, you cannot make this perfectly fair. So stop trying to force fairness through policy, because when you do, you start breaking rules to compensate for human behavior. So what should you do? You need to fundraise for the program, not the individual. You need to set clear, transparent program costs. This is what it costs to run this program. Don't spring new fees on people. Use fundraising to offset costs for all, not reward specific families. Build sponsorship and community support. Stop relying only on parent labor. Pull your community into this. And look, this is, I know there's hardship in this world. That's evident. We all see it, but that doesn't mean it needs to be a public display. Handle hardship privately and ethically. Quiet support is much better than public policy punishment. Help these people the best you can. Privately. Please. Look, you might be doing this right now. Most people are. And you think, well, we've always done it this way. Look, that doesn't make it safe. That just means you haven't been audited yet. You haven't had a complaint yet. You haven't had a situation escalate yet. And all of those things are audit triggers. Look, I know a lot of y'all are mad at me right now because you think I'm calling you out. This isn't about calling people out. This is about protecting your students, your program, your organization, and ultimately you. Because once something goes wrong, we don't get to say we didn't know. So if this made you uncomfortable, good. That means we're getting closer and closer to doing this right. I can't even form my words well right now. The risk I saw in that thread is just unbelievable. Guys, we must do better. The IRS is not blind. There is enforcement logic. There's document. You know what? That's coming soon. We're going to talk about enforcement logic. I'm going to tell you exactly what they look for. Not so that you can skirt around it. Because I want you all to know without a shadow of a doubt that they are watching. Look, if you need help navigating this, reach out to me. If I can't handle it, I know I'll get you in touch with people that can. Let's start to mitigate this risk, guys. Let's stop operating in stress and chaos like this. We can do better. We must do better. We say we're doing it for the kids. This is for the kids. Let's protect their programs.